25 years, the Boston neighborhood known as Southie was ruled by James Whitey Bulger, the head of the violent and often deadly Irish mob. At his right hand sat his most trusted lieutenant and enforcer, Kevin Weeks. 60 Minutes correspondent Ed Bradley sat down with Kevin Weeks Sunday.
Kevin Weeks is a soft-spoken 49-year-old native of South Boston. But don't be fooled by the low-key, matter-of-fact way he answers questions about his life of crime.
You seem to have committed every crime in the book. Let me know if I've got all of this right. You beat people up?
Yes.
Put them in the hospital?
Yes.
Shot, stabbed people?
Yes.
Helped kidnap people?
Yes.
And you were an accessory to murders?
Correct.
That's quite a resume.
It's the business we were in.
The business they were in was organized crime, and what set Whitey Bulger's organization apart was its penchant for violence. Weeks says it was all part of the folklore of this Irish working-class neighborhood known as Southie.
Was it a tough neighborhood when you were growing up, Kevin?
You had to fight. You didn't have to win, but you had to fight.
On these streets, Whitey Bulger was known as a vicious gangster who never hesitated to use violence. Weeks, who had a reputation as a tenacious street fighter, caught the crime boss's eye while he was working as a bouncer at a local bar. Over the years, he became Bulger's most trusted confidant.
What did you do for him? What was your job?
Anything he asked me to do.
Kevin Weeks has written a book called Brutal, the untold story of my life inside Whitey Bulger's Irish mob. And Mr. Weeks is with us this morning. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Why'd you join the mob in the first place?
Really, I don't know if I joined it or I was drafted.
You had a chance to go to prep school. You had a reasonably good mind. Some people said you might have even gone to Harvard. That's a pretty wide dichotomy there between Harvard and being running around with a bunch of mobsters.
Yeah, it's I grew up in a tough neighborhood, and I guess I was attracted to the criminal element.
Yeah. As Ed just recounted in that piece, you beat a lot of guys up, accessory to murder, put people in the hospital. Do you feel any guilt? Do you feel any remorse for those acts?
It's something I live with, and I can't change the past, so I don't dwell on it. I just try to move on.
Yeah. Is being in the Irish mob in Boston, is it like The Sopranos? Is it like that at all? Is there a code? Are there similarities?
In the sense that there's supposed to be. I mean, amongst all criminals, that you don't turn, you don't give up your friends.
Yeah. And in the end, who informed on who here? It turns out Whitey was plugged in, right?
Yeah, Whitey was plugged in. Stevie Flemmi was plugged in long before Whitey was, and they've been informants for years.
Yeah. Did you feel betrayed by him then?
Oh, most definitely.
Huh.
I mean, it was supposed to be a one-way relationship that we were receiving information from law enforcement. Instead, as I say in the book, they were given information.
Here's Whitey Bulger. He's your mentor. Does anybody really know where he is now?
I don't believe so.
Will he ever be found?
Probably not.
Why not?
I think, he's probably over in Europe somewhere. He's under an alias, and I think, when he dies of natural causes, because I don't think they'll ever find him, that he'll be buried under that name.
One of your nemesis was Howie Carr from the Boston Herald. There's a description of the book as how you were getting ready to kill him. Were you really going to kill this guy?
Yeah.
And how were you going to kill him?
I was going to shoot him, with the rifle.
And in the end, why did you back off?
He came walking out of the house with his daughter, little girl. She was like 7 years old or so. They were headed towards a silver Volvo. He had it by the hand, so couldn't take a chance at, maybe the bullet fragmenting or ricocheting and hitting her, or just, killing her father in front of her. That would have been a, traumatic experience for us, so we just passed on it.
Wow. What do you do now?
Well, I work, trying to develop a few businesses. I just, and I enjoy my leisure time.
Wow. Do you feel like you're in any danger from your past?
Not really, but, nobody's involved in, nobody's, I mean, they shot the president, didn't they? So anyone could be had.
Kevin Weiss, very interesting conversation. Thanks very much for taking the time to speak with us.
You're welcome.
All right. We'll be right back. You're watching The Early Show.
As if the FBI didn't have enough on its hands trying to explain that one of its top agents has been arrested and charged with spying for the Russians, the Bureau may have an even bigger problem trying to explain its 25-year relationship with the notorious boss of the Irish mob in Boston, James Whitey Bulger, whom the FBI recruited as a secret informant to get information about Bulger's arch rivals in the Italian mafia. In exchange for that information, the FBI, in effect, gave Bulger carte blanche, which allowed him to get away with robbery, drug dealing, extortion, and according to a federal indictment, the murders of at least 19 people. What's more, one FBI agent has been charged with tipping off Bulger 6 years ago that he was about to be arrested, and that let him get away. The 71-year-old Bulger hasn't been seen or heard from since, and while his whereabouts are a mystery, Whitey Bulger's victims have been turning up all over Boston. In the past year, authorities acting on tips from members of his gang